Okay, so what you see in this video is my view on what should happen if you get clamped, but it's up to you to look into it yourself and make your own informed decision. It's your choice. Okay, let's kick this off. Okay, so you have to understand, we've been living here for 2 years, almost 2 years, and at one stage they had a barrier system which came into effect for a few months, but was disbanded because they didn't have planning permission for such a thing. But even when it was up, they did give us a code to pass in and out here. So it's frustrating to see that after 2 years living here, they decided to harass us because of our van. Okay, so what kicked this whole campaign off was about 4 weeks ago, which was the first week in March. I came out of my apartment one night to find I had been clamped. Quite a surprise, considering that the clamp was put on at 8 o'clock in the evening in my own parking spot outside my own apartment. My first thought was to cut it off with an angle grinder, but I went to the police to ask for advice and they strongly advised against it. So mistakenly I decided to pay the €120 fee the next morning. My brother called in to have a cup of tea and to wait for the clamper to remove my clamp. We looked outside the window and lo and behold, the clamper was clamping Sean's car as well. He claimed that Sean was there over 15 minutes in the visitor spot, and he didn't indicate in his window what apartment he was visiting. So an expensive cup of tea that cost Sean €120 on top of my €120. So you can imagine we were quite irate at this stage. So on the way downtown we popped into the People newspaper and we talked to Maria Pepper, who did an article that week on our plight. How are you doing?
Hey Seamus, how are you?
Well, can you tell us how you feel about the parking situation and the clamping situation up here in Hollyville Heights?
Well, it's pretty far from a democracy anyway, that's for sure. No, we're living in a, I don't know, draconian environment up here. It's pretty scary stuff. There seems to be, I don't know, 4 or 5 people on a supposed committee that are basically setting their own rules. And they're enforcing their own rules through some parking agent who's actually nothing to do with them, because they don't have the balls to actually come out and face people themselves. And it seems to me, I mean, I'm only your neighbour, and I mean, I have a normal car, so I haven't been clamped, but you seem to be being victimised as far as I can see. I think, what, they clamped you 4 times now? You know, that's just not on. You're parking in your own space, with your own vehicle, it's your only vehicle, and you know, you're not causing any hassle or stress to anybody. I think they should make an allowance for you to live in the estate peacefully.
Yeah, and you've talked to other residents in the estate.
Yeah, well, I actually did a little bit of a survey, and we actually got 30 other people that were actually up in the estate, and that was only on the off chance, and they all agreed with us. So, you know, I just can't get my head around people's mentality. You know, they're actually, I mean, what if you had a family emergency? You know, what if I don't know, your father was sick and you had to rush up to the hospital, and your vehicle's been clamped? They're taking away your right to your own vehicle. It's just not acceptable.
And of course we're all being victimised here, even people with normal cars, on the strength of the 2-hour stay.
That's it. Yeah, I can't have any friends come over and stay, or, you know, I can't lead a normal life up here. And certainly I probably wouldn't have moved in had I known that it was such a crazy place to live.
And is there a parking problem up here with people?
Oh, well, as you can see there now, we've got massive issues with people coming up here parking. It's a serious problem. Plus, if I'm right in understanding, I think there's about, is it 9 or 12 spaces they have that are rented out to people downtown?
12 spaces.
12 spaces. They have 12 spaces rented out to people downtown. Not for people who live here, and they use it at their own convenience. I don't know who's getting the money for this, but certainly it's not affecting things like the cleanliness of our hallways or you know, other things like that, which definitely need to be rectified.
Okay, thanks Sam.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Cheers, Seamus.
Okay. Okay, so at this stage I invited the police up to assess the situation. They couldn't believe what was going on up here, so they went to the head of the Residents Association and asked for a peaceful solution. They said no, and they said they'd continue to clamp my van. So on the strength of their brazen defiance, the sergeant gave me permission to protest, which involved parking my van across the entrance to Hollyville Heights. And they also gave us Garda supervision for the night. Hi Claire, thanks for talking to us.
Sorry.
You've been here longer than us, you've been here quite a few years. How do you feel about this overzealous action being taken against?
Yeah, well, I can't get over it, to be honest, because I'm a live and let live person, and I kind of don't like anyone interfering with me, and I don't interfere with anybody, and I've kind of had a few issues here really since I came in here. When I came in here first, it was lovely and really quiet, and it was lovely and all, but then a few issues came up with barriers, and now we have clamping, and I was actually clamped in my own space.
Oh, you were clamped yourself?
In my own space, because clampers didn't see the permit.
Yeah. You had a
them.
permit in your window?
I had a permit, yeah.
Still got clamped?
Still got clamped, but...
It must have been a shock to you when you came out.
Well, it was such a shock, to be honest. I was upsetting first, because I was crying first, because I thought, how can anyone do this? It's ridiculous, but then I kind of got angry, and I refused to pay the fee. I didn't pay the fee.
Yeah?
So
And how did they remove it?
They removed it because... I don't know. I mean...
Did you have a word with the Residents Association about that?
Well, two of them came out that morning, so I firmly believe that they saw my car being clamped.
Yeah.
Because the minute I came out, they were out. And I just told them that it better be removed.
Yeah. Have you talked to your own landlord about this situation?
Yeah, but sure, he agrees with the fact that, it shouldn't be happening, and all, but again, there don't seem to be anything forthcoming from them, it seems to be, that's the way it is, and that's it,
Yeah. There's not a real sense of community here anymore since
no.
this has kicked off, has it?
No. And I think when the thing came up about the barriers as well, I was led to believe that most of the people living here didn't even know about it until it actually came about.
Yeah, it seems they're a law unto themselves.
Yeah, well, my reaction to the barriers even was, to me, they were a total nightmare. They were so stressful, because they were worked through your mobile phone.
Yeah.
And it was crazy,
Yeah.
you couldn't go anywhere without your mobile phone. And
of course, they didn't have planning permission in the end of the day.
They didn't, they didn't, and it seems that a lot of people didn't know about them. They just, as I explained to one of the members of the Residents Association, that they didn't actually put a letter in your letterbox saying that we're having a meeting especially to discuss barriers. They just put the usual things in, you can come to the meetings if you want. I'm sure I don't want to be going to meetings because I really don't. But I would have went to a meeting to discuss a barrier if I had realised it was to discuss a barrier.
It affects you directly.
Yeah. Well, sure, they're gone now anyway, that's the main thing.
Barriers are gone.
And now we have clamping.
We have clamping, yeah.
I've no objections to him clamping someone that's illegally parked, but I do object to residents being clamped.
Yeah. All right, Claire, thank you.
No, right.